Right. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone, whichever part of the world you're in. My name is Rohit, and this is my second Bright Talk session. This time, this is last time we did cover a very interesting topic about cloud and monitoring cloud environment. This time, it's going to be slightly more different. As we see in the region, as you can see, I'm one of the regional sales engineers in APAC, working with the Singapore team and primarily based out of Sydney in Australia. And as you can see, one of the key topics that we always come across is compliance. And this has been one of the continuous chats and talks that we have been having with multiple people and customers, resellers, right? It's one of the constant ones. So I thought, why not we do a bright talk on this? And this today's session is going to be on compliance, cybersecurity compliance with SIEM, and how LogRhythm as a product, as a portfolio, as a solution can help you achieve that. Right. Just a quick housekeeping. I'll try to keep this really short and simple. I did time myself earlier. It shouldn't be more than 30 minutes. Just how really, I don't like to do death by slides. So I just keep it really short and simple with the slides and also jump into the demo. And finally, just want to highlight a few things, which is what are things that's upcoming from LogRhythm standpoint. I would discuss that later on at the end of the presentation. Right. The agenda, as I said, just give you a quick introduction of who we are. If you're a first timer listening to this, just want to give you an introduction. What are the challenges? What are the common regulations, and how LogRhythm as a SIEM can, enable your compliance journey? Just show a short demo, and eventually talk about the conclusion, the comprehensive collection side of things. Right. So again, the whole part of the new LogRhythm motto is ready to defend. Our goal is to build like a busy, lean security operations team, right? We want to help you build that team, save the day by day after day, needle in a haystack, all that story, right? But at the end of the day, we want to keep it simple for you. And that's the whole thing. So, and with the combination of like having a good security operations platform, a good technology partnership, and advisory services, LogRhythm is there to help you navigate through your threat landscape, and that's why we are there together. We are ready to defend as a company. It's more, we are more moving towards the agile framework as well, and coming up again, I'll talk about that later on. But again, one of the key things, this is what are challenges are we solving for this is, if you go and ask a lot of CISOs and CEOs, right, what are they looking at? And you'll firstly find that this might be a repetition from my previous talk, but this is what it is, right? This is the scenario in today's world. So we can't hide that over there. Only 7% of the CISOs report directly to CEO. And one of the key things is, especially with LogRhythm, is we kind of help you build that business case for your security program. And when you talk about the challenges, what are the main things? Obviously, one is move to cloud. The other one is compliance. As I said, we're hearing a lot of that compliance, buzzword around most of the customers over here. And if they want to look at it, right, compliance, reports, etc., they are hearing that. Visibility, asset protection, obviously, these are key ones. Visibility is a big challenge, especially in a hybrid environment, right? It's a big challenge. And thereby, you need to be compliant as well. So it's all interlinked at the end of the day. And when you talk about the team's challenges, the first thing, the reason why a security team is not able to look into compliance in particular, or work on that in particular, because they majority of the time, the 80-20 ratio, right, majority of the time goes about in prioritizing and resolution, optimizing investigation response time, just goes into that, keeping pace with the threats. And when it comes to like visibility and compliance, that takes a big hit, and you don't know where they're coming from. It always takes a big hit. But end of the day, it's a circle. It's a vicious circle, unfortunately. Chicken and egg situation. Can't do much, but that's why we are here to help you solve that. And again, when you go and talk to the customers, continuing from common challenges, nothing new, right? It's just automation, information overload, fatigue, forensic visibility, the analysis. It's all common. That's why I'm just still keeping this same, because end of the day, it's all going to come back at the end of the day, and you'll see how it's connected to our current topic that we're going to be discussing today. So when you talk about compliance, to start with, what are the common ones? When I say the team has heard, over here. If you're from Australia, it's AST Essential 8. That's a common one. Australia Signals Directorate Essential 8. Otherwise, it's ISO 27001, GDPR, obviously, and PCI DSS, so credit card information. If you're holding any such information, PCI DSS is becoming very big thing out there. So how are we going to target all of this? That's the main thing. And keeping that in mind, LogRhythm and the internal research team, we come up with what's called a Consolidated Compliance Framework, or what's called a CCF, right? What is CCF? Primarily, what we have done is we have given it our internal name for that, and to help you achieve that. If you are from APAC, for example, like us, generally, what are customers looking for? The RMIT, AST Essential 8, right? ISO 27001 because it's international, PCI DSS, CIS, critical controls, they are international. If you're coming primarily from America, the main things they look into is SOC 2, NIST, NIST 853, etc., all of that. If you're going to Middle East, it's quite common, the NISA, that's a very common one, KSA, Qatar, KFC, NCSC, and GDPR from Europe. Not to mention, I mean, there are customers who they will have similar ones across the world, but this is what you're seen in common, right? So what we did is we put what is called a CCF framework, or CCF compliance framework in a nutshell. So what is it basically is that under that framework, you don't need to do anything. So as a LogRhythm, once you have the SIEM onboarded, once you're getting it up and running, you don't need to do anything much. You basically go in and turn on this framework. That's it. Just go and call the CCF and just turn it on. It's just a click of a button. That's all it is in a nutshell. But what you're trying to highlight over here is that by having this turned on, you can actually import the dashboards necessary. For example, there's a snapshot of the ISO 27001, which I'll obviously show through another example in the demo. But again, this ISO 27001 dashboard, right, that's just created. So it's automatically, we are looking at the key aspects within the 27001, which is like the account management, such as account created, modified, deleted, who are the top accounts, what are the top deleted ones, how many authentication failures, what's a suspicious alert that we are talking about, how many of them are installed, software installed by admins, etc., and software installed by local admins versus the system admins, etc. So these are things. FIM by file name, so file integrity monitoring, as we talk about. I'll get all of this into detail, right? What we can cover, the depth and breadth of it. This is the basic one, a quick dashboard. It's available. Quick reporting is available for you. And that's all possible because LogRhythm, the way in which we have built this, where we have architected this product is such that you don't need to go ahead and query or anything and do all of this. It's pretty much, it's just a tick of, just check the box and say enable. That's it. At no additional cost to your license or anything, right? That's the whole point behind this whole. That's the whole point behind this. There's one such example of the PCI DSS that it's similarly that I want to highlight over here. Modification of account, FIM, again, file integrity monitoring, what's been done, SQL monitoring, so what tables have been altered, what's been done, all of that can be gotten together at the same time. Have the reports related to PCI DSS ready, just click run and then done, right? Of the previous day, previous 1 month, previous 1 year, whatever it is you want to do, and actually go ahead and do that. And that's the very interesting bit behind LogRhythm, because the way in which we have built this, I'm going to show that shortly. Now, the way in which you have built this makes it so much easier from compliance standpoint, because while you are going back and when you're looking at that, the common challenges, and you're looking at that, the common challenges that you're facing, where your time is being spent, and prioritizing alerts, etc., compliance can actually take a back seat and have it run its course, because that's how we have built it. You don't need to go ahead and build anything special out of this. Everything is available out of the box from LogRhythm standpoint. Right, let's quickly jump into the demo. I'm just going to swap my screen here. As you can see, firstly, let me just show the web console over here. I just need to quickly make sure you're able to see this. Yep. So as you can see over here, you're able to see my web console over here. One of the things is you can actually, this public available docs.logRhythm.com, just search and you go there, just search for compliance over here. It should automatically take you to the compliance page over here. And what you can find is, you can actually find a bunch of compliance that's out of the box, that's already available. It's under knowledge base modules. Now, for our argument's sake, let me take a good one, the consolidated framework module. As I said, it's all part of that, right? But in this case, let me take a very common one, ISO 27001. It's quite common for all of us, right? Set up in 2017. We're talking about what it is. And it also talks about the deployment guide. So for a customer who is already using LogRhythm, we talk about the deployment guide. So let me just open that in a new tab for you, and the user guide, how to go about it, that. But what at the end of, I kept mentioning in the presentation, we already built this up for you, right? What do I mean by that? It means that as part of this, all the engine rules that kind of put together and makes that ISO 27001, we actually mentioned this to you. Abnormal amount of data transfer, that's again part of ISO 27001. That's what you need to know. And also, interestingly, what are the log sources do you need? You need to include all the log sources over there. And also, you mentioned over here what are things that you need to achieve this particular rule, and which will in turn become the part of your the compliance module of ISO 27001. That's the main thing over there. So there, as you can see over here, there's a rule ID given to you. You can set up alarms if you want, so you can do whatever you want in that. But at the end of the day, it talks about what log sources also you need for you to monitor this, which means that visibility becomes a very, very interesting topic and a key topic over here as well. So if you feel that you're not having the complete depth and breadth and the visibility within your organization, there you go. This is not something you will be able to, not it's not you will be able to, it won't be complete. This compliance part of it won't be complete. So from security standpoint, there you go, there's all the alerts that are given over here, or the AI engine rules, that's part of the logarithm. It's been given over here, and that kind of compresses, and that's your compliance module. Similarly, when you take, and also the reports and packages, so anybody can actually go and hit docs.logarithm.com, just search for compliance. You should be able to see and all the possible reports under that. So what are things are we talking? What are the control support are we looking at? What are the log sources again? So there we go. So we can actually go ahead and run these reports that you want. So thereby it's kind of really easy from your standpoint. It's all available for you at no additional cost. It's there in the logarithm platform. You just need to go check a box and then say enable. That's it. And it's all automatic for you. And this is where we are completely different in terms of our approach, right? Because these are all part of the AI, the engine rules that we already created for you, the 1,200 plus engine rules that we already created. All we have done is we have collated everything together, kind of gone up bottom up, right? So A, B, C, D, E, these become ISO 27001. A, D, E, F, G becomes GDPR. So argument's sake, so we are able to group them together according to the compliance standards that you're looking at, and able to run those reports accordingly. And this is why logarithm is completely different. So when you look at the deployment guide as well, sorry, I'm just going a bit extra on this because I thought it's quite important, because when you look at the deployment guide, it talks about how you can actually enable this. I mean, it's all there available, so you don't need to go ahead and install. But if you're, yeah, as we said, but you can actually go and enable these compliance modules. It's part of your knowledge base updates for the current logarithm install base, and you get it as a part of the software. You all get this with that. And every time there is some changes behind the scenes, when there's a new knowledge base, if there's any changes to the compliance module, which generally takes time because it comes from standards exactly, so it does take time, but at least as a part of that, you will get to know that it is available, readily available for you as part of the knowledge base updates, etc. Similarly, RMIT for Malaysia, the so Bank Negara of Malaysian risk management. ASD essentially, that's a very, very common one within Australia over here. So when we again talk about that, we can look at all the AI engine rules that become part of that. What are the log sources? So that's really quite comprehensive in what we are talking about over here. And all of this is possible because of how the logarithm is set up. Every data is indexed, and the AI engine rules kind of kicks in, correlates the data, and it's able to present that as an alarm for you later on. At the same time, we're able to put all of this together, combine them in the way that we want to, and kind of form those compliance modules within logarithm. Right. Just keep that in mind, docs.logarithm.com. Just go ahead and do a search on that for compliance, and you should be able to, it should automatically take you to this particular page. Have a lot of that because there's a lot of things that's already mentioned. We keep adding that as and when new modules come across, and any particular country, they want to separate one for themselves. And we've done that, it also kind of comes along with it. It talks about even the OT environment, nuclear energy, nuclear regulatory commissions as well, PCI DSS. So SOX, that's a common one. in the banking sector. So yep, there we go. So we are able to actually talk through this completely. Right. Let me jump into my demo. So as you all know, Logarithm Web Console, pretty much the one stop shop where you want to do all your things. One of the things is we can actually upload the dashboards, and the reports already available. You can upload the dashboards that you want. So maybe any dashboard that you're talking about. So if you have a PCI DSS dashboard, just go to your just ask your sales engineer uh, or the services team to give you the widgets. Pretty much you can upload it by yourself. What does it mean is that when I go ahead and, sorry, for argument's sake, let me just do this, PCI. When I actually go and show that to you, pretty much what we have done is we have kind of put all the key information in a dashboard. You can actually go ahead, obviously, and change it all by yourself. This is just an example I've taken over here. I don't want to go through every compliance module in this demo, but I'm just taking an example over here. So PCI DSS, pretty much have it up and running. And then all you can do is you can actually get an idea on what's happening over here with respect to the first one is account modification activity. And if you pull the inspector over here, you kind of get an idea on what you're looking at. So you're looking at all the classified fields, and more importantly, we are looking at basically access success, policy changes, authentication failure, etc. When you talk about in this argument, in this particular example, PCI DSS, we also need to look into file integrity monitoring. As you know, we did talk about in the first Bright Talk on various modules of Logarithm that we can actually go ahead and do. One is obviously the log collection and correlation, the security analytics part, smart response and alarms, case and incident or case slash or incident management, file integrity monitoring. So we can actually monitor your shared file drives and your file servers, registry monitoring, any registry changes, user and registry monitoring. It can enable them with the agents, and those can feed in extra data into Logarithm over here that will eventually correlate and give you the PCI DSS FIM activity over here. And as you can see, the reports, so part of the dashboard, you can see when the report was run, and all the reports are, for example, account management activity, authentication failure activity, as I showed you in the previous tab on what are those reports, and everything automatically can be run as well. You can schedule them the way you want it to. What does it mean, right? What does it mean? What does it translate to? For example, when I look at the account modification activity and I pull the logs over here, you can actually see the logs that kind of, as we say, PCI DSS, when you look at PCI DSS, and I said all log sources and everything, in a way, you can kind of verify and see what are the log source types. It's part of this. They're talking about flat file from Inject server, Palo Alto, AWS. In this particular example, Windows logging, syslogs, other syslog. We're talking about an NDR side of things, Okta events coming through, CrowdStrike, which is endpoint, Hyperspace, Cisco ASA, firewalls. So pretty much everything out there, we are kind of ingesting to just pick up the account modification within all the possible log sources. It can be network, it can be anything. As you can see, that's what when we say all log sources, and in terms of visibility, that's what we meant. When we talk about the FIM activity, what are things that we are looking at? Again, it'll be pretty much, I'm guessing, uh, not all, but at least majority of them over there that would kind of throw this, getting all that possible FIM like events coming across from various logs. So we'll be able to see that, and that's one of the interesting part, right? So when you look at, say, for example, network anomaly, right? There's an engine rule that's actually thrown this. Double click that and jump more into that particular one. We're looking at from the network. We are trying to see if there are any such data. There we go. We're talking about some suspicious data. Majority of them are things, but we're looking at some suspicious data. When you just drill down further into that and pull those logs for that, apologies, give me a second. Oh yeah, when I just pull those logs out of that, we can actually see where they're coming from. It's all network data that's coming from, and we are detecting like a large file transfer being detected over here. And one of the good things is when you're looking at such issues that's happening, the smart response, you can either automate that, or you can have a plugin come in and say block this at the firewall level, or external transfer, or block it at the switch level. As far as you have the APIs connected, you can actually take action in terms of smart response as in one-stop shop. Right? It's a one continuous everything in one box. Basically, that's what we're trying to do. So I can actually look at this either from a dashboard perspective and say, yep, PCI DSS, this is what I looked at, and what do I need to do? I need to automate the smart response for any such thing that's happening. modify with an unchanged hash. So somebody's done suspicious file access. This is quite common ones that we'll see. And we can actually kind of get more information around that. So you're looking at, again, suspicious common event is coming from, oops, there we go, file access. And what are the logs? So where are they coming in from? We can actually see it's coming in from, when you look at that, it's, again, let me go drill down further. That means somebody's accessing suspicious. So people who don't have access to that are actually accessing it. What do you do? Call in for your AD plugin and block that particular user. So call the account AD account management, block the particular user or whatever that you want to do. You can actually enable or reset the password for that AD account, and then so that they can come to you and for you to unlock, and you can actually take action around that. And this is what we're talking about in a nutshell, right? This is what you're talking about when LogRhythm as a SIEM, how it can actually help you and your company achieve that compliance side of things. And as I always said, all these are engine rules. These engine rules kind of throw up all these alarms over here that we are talking about, right? We're throwing all these alarms over here that we are talking about. And these alarms, as you all already know, when you code it, and these are the alarms that kind of combine together, and we have grouped them together to have the compliance module set up. So this is where LogRhythm as a product, as a SIEM vendor, is completely different from majority of them out there, because we're able to actually provide this without any additional cost, obviously without any overhead. From your standpoint, from the customers or reseller standpoint, you don't need to have any such overhead. Thereby you're able to actually go ahead and just tick the box and they say enable. That's pretty much it that you got to do automatically. Going back into the KB module tab, automatically, as and when there is some updates at the international standard level, we kind of update this, and those knowledge base modules are updated on regular basis. And if, as far as you have the internet connection, it's pushed, or you can download it manually and apply them to your LogRhythm servers in the central platform manager. You can actually go ahead and do that. So that's how we are kind of unique in terms of achieving compliance within your organization. Right. Just to top it off in terms of functionalities, just talk about the incident management and case management. Of course, from every part of your alarm or every part of the dashboard that you have, you can actually raise an alarm. And even as part of that, you can actually, if I just click on this particular example, you can actually have evidence locker attached to this. You can attach a couple of logs attached. Sorry, I should be opening that. Actually have a couple of logs attached to this part of an evidence locker for it to work on that particular alarm. And at the same time, you can also kind of add collaborators to this part of your incident management or case management side of things as well. So everything is interrelated. So as bottom up, we collect the logs, correlate them in the and index the data, and then the AI, the alarm, the engine rules, they kick in. They kind of throw all those alarms with the risk-based scoring out there in the alarms side of things. And eventually, to achieve your compliance, what we have done is we've done it's with 2,200 plus alarms that are already available. We kind of correlate the information, combine them together, group them together into the right compliance module for anyone to go ahead and use. Again, you don't need to go. I want to highlight this because this is whenever we have spoken to customers, they always said, "Yep, reporting is kind of hard, or dashboarding is kind of hard." But in this case, it's kind of really straightforward. Pretty much get the widgets, upload it, and as far as the data is there, so as far as we see all the data and all the available log sources, all the widgets should automatically populate for you, right? As far as we see that right rate data in there, all these widgets should automatically populate for you. And this is how we are completely different from everyone out there, because the way in which we set up the platform and the way in which we use it. Right. Going back, in conclusion, you might have seen this in the previous one, but in conclusion, when he spoke about, you saw in the compliance module, all log sources, visibility, right? It's all, I told you, it's a vicious cycle. We can't miss one over the other. But at the end of the day, you can have your data anywhere in your on-premise cloud. You can have your cloud providers in place. You can have everything out there. You can use your cloud services. But at the end of the day, as far as you have them within LogRhythm as a SIEM, you'll be able to correlate that information. From that correlated information is where the AI engine rules, the alarms come in. Again, I want to highlight this. And then from there on is all the compliance taken care of. So visibility is taken care of in one end, compliance taken care of, and you're able to do the threat hunting in the way that you want to, without any much of an issue or without any much of a hindrance to your process. Just before I close, I think I'm doing well for time. Done with, yeah, just wanted to make sure that, yep, sorry. So it's looking at the time. So pretty much on the dot over here. I just wanted to give you this heads up. So Logarithm, since last year, we are kind of been in the agile mode, as you all might have seen in the news and LinkedIn everywhere. But we have been doing quarterly innovations, right? We have been coming up with new quarterly innovations at every July, October, January. We've been always releasing something interesting, something new. I recommend, we promise something at the beginning of the quarter and we deliver at the beginning of the next quarter. So one of the main things that I want to highlight over here is that watch out for the space, please. April 2023 is the next releases and next set of updates that will be coming your way. So far, this just wanted to show and highlight. Just wanted to highlight this: promises made, promises kept. So please do follow us on LinkedIn. And all the previous videos and all the updates you can obviously go and catch on the Logarithm user channel, Logarithm Inc. in YouTube. And also you can go ahead and look for Logarithm in LinkedIn and follow us and get those latest updates that we do every quarter. So with that, I would like to thank you all for attending this session. And wherever you are, please do send your questions and it will surely flow down to me or the team, and we'll be more than happy to answer you. And yep, don't just watch out for the space for more updates that's coming our way. Thank you and have a good day.